All right, the roundtable's ready to go. Joining us this morning, Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst Rob Gray. Guys, thank you as always. All right, let's start with Speaker Mariano. He's a Democrat. Marianne, you go first. It doesn't sound like he's going anywhere.
No, and they're getting a lot done. I mean, here's the difference when you have a Democratic governor and two Democratic leaders in the legislature. And up this week is guns. So I think they've done taxes, they've done some other stuff, now they're doing guns. You can start to see what a difference it makes after only having one Democratic governor for 8 years in the last 30 years.
I mean, it was interesting. I think the battle between the legislature and DeZoglio is going to continue. If she doesn't get the signatures, it may be over pretty quick, but at least for the next couple months, it's going to be out there as a political issue.
All right, Massachusetts political leaders, including Speaker Mariano, raising their voices on the war between Israel and Hamas. A rally of support for Israel on Boston Common last week brought some cheers and some jeers. Senator Ed Markey, he was booed when he spoke about de-escalating the violence, and Treasurer Deb Goldberg getting a mixed reaction to her support of a two-state solution. So what does this say about this moment and this issue, Rob?
I think what it says is that a lot of our elected officials, Democrats, including Ed Markey and Deb Goldberg, are out to lunch on this issue and out of the mainstream. I mean, they got booed for a reason. Instead of attacking Hamas and the terrorists, they're trying to turn the other cheek at a time when that's the worst idea.
What do you think, Marianne?
Well, I think the Biden administration has been pitch perfect on this moment, which is you condemn the violence, condemn Hamas, condemn the terror that they brought, and you stand with Israel. That's where people are right now. And everyone from Joe Biden to every member of his administration that are traveling to Israel now are saying the same thing. And I think that's what everyone's looking for right now. I would say one other thing. He smartly said, democracies are stronger when you follow the rule of law, which he was laying the predicate to make sure that when Israel retaliates, which they will, and we support, that they do so in a way that doesn't make hostages and civilians collateral damage. I think that's a really important point.
Biden's been strong. Why are the Massachusetts elected Democrats, not all, but these two we're talking about, Markey and Goldberg, weak? That's the interesting
But after
question.
that reaction, don't you think this could be unifying for Democrats as well, Rob?
I don't know. I think that they have a base that's pro-Palestinian that went out and, marched for Hamas, and they're worried about that base. A lot of them are in the House of Representatives.
That's not true, and a lot of the most progressive Democrats have distanced themselves from all of that.
All right, local college campuses have become hotbeds of debate over the awful events that unfolded in Israel. Harvard especially. New Harvard president, she's barely on the job, Claudine Gay, she just started. She's under fire over remarks from a student-run Palestine solidarity group. President Gay released a statement making it clear that she condemns the terrorist atrocities perpetrated by Hamas. Are institutions like Harvard being fairly or unfairly criticized here?
So adults should know the difference between right and wrong, and it's pretty easy to condemn what Hamas did. And it took her 2 statements to do it. That's fine. Let's focus on the students, who many of them have come out, against Israel, plainly and clearly. They're students, they're kids. They should be educated to the facts and history and law about what terror is and right and wrong. If they then don't understand it, then there should be consequences. But everyone's starting with doxing them, calling them the biggest anti-Semites, threatening them with future employment. That's not the way to deal with this. I mean, that's wrong.
Rob?
I mean, it's Tufts too, not just Harvard and other places, but it does show you that just because you got into Tufts or Harvard, it doesn't mean you're smart.
Yeah, hatred is learned, and this is school, and they should be educated.
All right, RFK Jr. is now running for president as an independent. He dropped out of the Democratic primary, pointing his finger at the DNC. Now, Kennedy family members have all denounced him, but he shrugs it off. In the end, could he pull more votes away from Biden or Trump? What do you think, Rob?
Well, I think most likely Biden because of his Democratic heritage, but he could have a serious impact. I mean, we'll see. He's also very out to lunch, just like Ed Markey. But if you look at Ralph Nader in 2000, 100,000 votes in Florida. George Bush won by 600. Nader, 22,000 votes in New Hampshire, triple Bush's margin. If New Hampshire had flipped, Gore would have been the president. Those 600 votes in Florida, Gore would have been the president.
What do you think, Marianne?
Worried about it?
He's going to take more from Trump. 2 points. One, at his first announcement back here in Boston, it was all QAnon, anti-vaxxers, right-wing media outlets. And that's who he's played to. Now Sean Hannity is trying to make him look like a liberal. I think the real question here is, where does he qualify to get on the ballots in the states that matter? Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, maybe North Carolina. If he's in those states in a 2 or 3 point race, everything makes a difference.